In this video, I am making more easy backpacking gear that almost anyone can create at home. Pretty cool, right? Well, it really works, ta-da! Just like last time, I am starting simple and then moving up to more complicated gear. By the end of this video, I will show you how to make this. Look at that! But first, we're starting off nice and easy with a backpacking repair kit stored in a pill bottle. This is my show, gosh darn. There's a couple of things that you absolutely have to have in a repair kit of some kind when you're backpacking, and so I'm gonna show you an easy way to store all of it in a pill bottle like this. So first off, here's what you're gonna need for this DIY. Heavy duty thread and a needle, a small pocket knife with scissors, duct tape or repair tape, there's a hair on it, around 50 feet of cord, repair patches for sleeping pads, and then a cork for storing your needle and a lighter. Let's make it. We're gonna start by making the stuff that goes on the inside of the pill bottle. One of the most important things that I think you should bring with you when you are backpacking is actually a needle and thread for repairing gear. And I'm gonna show you a super easy way to store your needle and thread in your pill bottle. Oh, we forgot cardboard. We'll just cut a piece off of this. Let me get my scissors. Oh, sorry, Tucker. Hello. I am literally just cutting the lid off of this tenacious tape. Any cardboard will do, toothpaste box, beer box, other boxes. And we're gonna cut out a rectangle. And then from that, we are gonna cut out little notches. So it kind of looks like an hourglass. So here is my rectangle. I'm gonna make sure that this little rectangle fits inside my pill bottle, which it should just fine. Yep. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut those little notches on the side. We're gonna go up about 1/4 of an inch, make a little notch. Then all we're gonna do is just cut out those notched sections. Ta-da. The next thing we're gonna do is we're going to wrap our thread around our little makeshift thread holder. Now I'm using a heavy duty thread. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna take the very end of my thread and I'm gonna kind of pinch it on my cardboard. And then you just do this until you really don't want to anymore. There's one final step of this, which allows it to be safely kept in my little pill bottle repair kit. And that is to stab the needle through our cardboard on one side and then out our cardboard on the other side. Boop. I'm taking my wine cork, I'm taking my pocket knife, and I'm just gonna cut off a small piece of my wine cork.
Oh God.
Thank you. And then I'm just gonna cut this into quarters. And there is our tiny piece of cork. We're gonna put it right on the end of the needle. Boop. Like a little needle condom.
What was that?
What? So this is our needle and thread. We're gonna store that directly into our pill bottle. You're also gonna wanna keep your pocket knife, which has your scissors on it, as well as potentially a lighter, but I'm gonna use this lighter in the next part of this DIY, so we're gonna keep it out. This is also when I would put things like my repair patches into this kit. So our next step is super easy. We're just gonna make a little roll of duct tape. So I have here my duct tape, and I'm just gonna start by rolling it in on itself, like world's tiniest sleeping pad. We're just gonna speed up this process so that you don't have to watch me roll duct tape. So, zoom, zoom. And we're done. We have our little roll of tape. I'm gonna slide that right into my repair kit. So the last step to this pill bottle repair kit is to wrap our cord around the outside. Round the outside, round the outside. Chuk chuk wah, chuk 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 wah. I've gotten to the very end where I just have this little like raw piece of cordage. What we're gonna do is light this, there we go. And then I'm gonna take my scissors and press it. So it won't be very firmly attached, but it'll be attached enough that it's not gonna just come unpeeled in my pack. Ta-da! And that is your backpacking repair kit. Next up, we are making armless sunglasses. For this DIY, you're going to need a pair of broken sunglasses, micro cord, scissors, a lighter, a tiny toggle, and optionally an eyeglass repair kit. Technically, your sunglasses don't have to be broken, but I think that this is a great DIY to make when you do have a pair of broken sunglasses that you don't feel like repairing. Technically, you could use brand new sunglasses and just disassemble them. There's actually a really popular company called Ombras that makes sunglasses that don't have any arms like this. The sunglasses they make are really nice and they are rather expensive. So I'm showing you kind of a knockoff version of this. This is not me saying that these are as good as Ombras. It's just me saying that if you want to try some armless sunglasses, you can make them at home.
What's happening?
I feel like Miss Trunchbull. Matilda, stop gluing hats to people's heads. All right, so the first thing that we are going to do is remove the other arm of our sunglasses. For that, I need my little eyeglass repair kit. Now, obviously, if your sunglasses are both broken or if both the arms are already off, then you don't need this little repair kit, but I need to actually remove one. I wanna also point out that when you buy an eyeglass repair kit, it comes with tiny screws for glasses. So you could definitely just repair them instead of doing this. I promise this is the hardest part of the entire DIY. And there we have it. Armless sunglasses. This is one awesome way to make your sunglasses lighter for all my ultralighters out there, but it also basically turns your sunglasses into something with like a built-in croaky or like sunglass attachment, because when this cord is attached to these sunglasses, if I take them off my face, they're just gonna be hanging around my neck. Now my cord, this has a 3/64 of an inch diameter, so it's a very, very small cord. But even then, trying to thread this through this hole is gonna be a little bit tough. So what I'm gonna do is cut it into kind of like an angle and then see if I can burn it and then feed it through. Okay, oh, I feel like I need tweezers. Woo! I'm gonna tie this off and then we have to repeat the exact same thing on the other side. I am actually going to use a barrel knot, which is like a friendship bracelet knot. If you don't know how to tie a barrel knot, that's fine. Just tie whatever knot you want. But I'm gonna tie a barrel knot. Boop, there we go. How pretty that is. Now the way that these sunglasses are going to work when they are done is that they will have a cord that goes to both ends and a little toggle on the back where I can tighten them. So I want to have the string be long enough that it can go around my head and be adjusted and then attach to the side of the sunglasses here, plus some extra for tying it off. And for me, that is about 33-ish inches of string. Right, sick. Now the very final thing to do is to attach our toggle. So all I wanna do actually is just take the string of my sunglasses and I'm going to take a little bite or a fold at the end of the cord. And then I'm gonna take my little mini toggle and feed it through that bite. I'm gonna just tie an overhand knot. It's literally just to keep the toggle from coming off. There we have our armless sunglasses. But now we need to test them out. On the face they go. Wow, it really works. That's so cool. That's awesome. Oh my gosh. Wowzers. Oh, dude. Wanna come, Tucker? All right, okay. They don't go anywhere. So they definitely work pretty well. I actually really love this. Honestly, this is far more effective than I expected. They're not like uncomfortable or anything, but I think there's a bit of a learning curve because I'm realizing that I can keep them kind of loose-ish and they still stay on my face. But definitely if I was like hiking and looking down and hiking and hiking and hiking and then I looked up, you become like judgmental teacher. You know, you're like, excuse me. So that is how you make some DIY armless corded sunglasses. Let's move on to our next DIY. For our next DIY, we're actually gonna make something super simple that I use on every backpacking trip. And that is an electrolyte drink mix powder, specifically this one from LMNT. LMNT shares the recipe for their electrolyte mixes online, so we are gonna make it here today. There's only 3 things that you need to make this electrolyte drink mix, and those are potassium chloride, magnesium malate, and table salt. And I also have here about 24 ounces of water. You'll need anywhere between 16 to 32 ounces of water, basically just to taste. Into my water bottle, I am going to add 400 milligrams of potassium chloride, which is like a little less than a quarter teaspoon. Boop. A quarter teaspoon of magnesium malate. Boop. And a half teaspoon of table salt. Oh golly, okay, that was probably more than we needed. Oops, okay, we're gonna just call that a quarter teaspoon, then we're gonna add a little bit more. This is why you don't do this over your water bottle, she said, doing it over her water bottle. Boop. Now this just makes the raw unflavored element, so I'm gonna seal this up and shake it. But one thing that LMNT actually suggests is if you wanna add a little bit of flavor to this, you can add a squeeze of lime. Ow. Oh, sorry.
Camera emergency.
Did I get lime on there?
Yeah.
Now, let's do a taste test. I mean, it tastes like salt, you know? Now, I showed you how to make a single serving of this electrolyte drink mix, but you can also make it in bulk in a small container like this one, because essentially the recipe is just 1 part potassium chloride, 1 part magnesium malate, and 2 parts salt. A single serving is roughly a teaspoon of this mixture. So yeah, if you're like out on a backpacking trip, just bring this, scoop a little bit on your spork and dump it in your water. And you essentially have the exact same formula that's used by LMNT, my personal favorite electrolyte drink mix, but made in bulk. If you've been watching my channel for a long time, you probably know that for me, electrolytes are such a crucial part of my hiking and backpacking experience. I am super prone to migraines and muscle cramps, and I really struggle with sweating a ton, losing a bunch of electrolytes, and staying hydrated. That is, until I discovered LMNT. Now, I've shown you how to make the raw unflavored version of LMNT, but one of my favorite things about LMNT is just all the delicious flavors that it comes in, from raspberry salt to watermelon and citrus salt. So if you haven't yet tried LMNT and you want to try some of their awesome flavors, you should definitely go to the link below, which is drinklmnt.com/Miranda Goes Outside. When you place an order for one of their drink mixes there, you'll actually get a sample pack of 8 of their most popular flavors. So you can find out which one is your favorite. Let's move on to the next DIY. Next, I'm gonna show you how to make a windscreen for your backpacking stove. To make this backpacking windscreen, you are going to need 2 of the cheapest cookie sheets that you can find. These are 10 by 15 inches, a pair of scissors, a pencil, and a straight edge. I'll also mention that it is helpful to have your pot and your stove as a reference for the size you need of your windscreen. I am going to set my whole stove up so you can understand how this windscreen works. So here we have my stove, which is the MSR Pocket Rocket 2, and my pot, which is the Snow Peak Titanium 700 milliliter pot. And together, these things are this tall. So I knew that I needed my windscreen to go at least up about halfway up my pot for it to like really properly block the wind. I feel like the big bad wolf. I'm like, I'll huff it, I'll puff it, I'll blow out your flame. This house is made of stone. So here's how to make that windscreen. So I'm gonna take one of my cookie sheets, and what I'm actually gonna do is just cut out this entire flat section that's on the bottom of the cookie sheet. Boom. All right. I have a rectangle that is roughly 9 by 14 or 15 inches long, and this is the perfect size for making my windscreen. The very first thing that I'm gonna do is roll these edges so that I don't have a super sharp edge sticking out. I'm just kind of folding it. I think this is like 1/8 of an inch, maybe. Before I roll this last long edge, I actually want to check the height of my windscreen first. So I'm going to measure this before I roll that last edge. This is just for my pot. If you have a different size pot, your measurements are going to be different. But for the most part, I think an 8.5 inch tall windscreen is pretty good. This is more than 8.5 inches. So what I actually want to do is I want to roll up this bottom edge so that we are at that 8.5 inch mark. I'm going to mark the same measurement on the other side. And now I'm gonna make a little fold right there. And then I should be able to kind of guesstimate the rest of the way. You can see the bottom edge that I've rolled up is actually much thicker than the rest of the edges where I kept these really small, like 1/8 inch rolls. This one is probably closer to 1/2 inch. And that's okay, because this is actually gonna be the bottom of my windscreen, and I need this little like envelope it's sort of created to help stabilize the bottom piece that's gonna go underneath the fuel canister. So now I'm going to take my windscreen and I'm gonna fold it into thirds. So I'm gonna fold one side in, and I'm gonna fold the other side in, and a very rough guesstimate of thirds, like that. Now on its own, this windscreen does stand up. Like if I just put this down like that, and then if I were to like put my stove in here, it would stand just fine. But what I find is that oftentimes when I'm using a windscreen, it's really windy out, obviously. And because of that, sometimes a windscreen like this will just fall over or to get blown around. And so that little extra stabilizer piece that goes underneath the stove is super helpful. So I'm gonna show you how to make that now. I'm gonna use my second cookie sheet for that. So I'm gonna draw kind of a line. It can't be any like wider than that. Draw a piece that goes out here, boop. Draw a line that goes out here, boop. Just drawing a little trapezoid.
Is saying boop a necessary part of the process?
Obviously. So this is the final shape that I want for my little windscreen stabilizer.
You look like a little kid holding his kindergarten drawing of their house.
One more step to add on to this. I need to connect this to the windscreen that I just made. And so to do that, I'm actually going to just draw on a rectangle on the back side. I'm guesstimating about an inch of extra, maybe more. This is just gonna get folded over inside my windscreen so that it stays attached. Let's cut. Boom. So there we have it.
Heavy metal going on in here. Whoa!
So the first thing I'm going to do is just roll the edges. By rolling, I mean folding. And now I'm going to fold along this line where I drew that add-on rectangle. And then we're gonna take this long edge and fold it back in on itself. So we're gonna take this piece, we're gonna take our finished windscreen. I am just going to take this little stabilizer that we just made. I'm gonna fit that into the folded edge on the windscreen. If we did everything correctly, it should be a nice, snug fit. And when I unfold this, I can stand the whole thing upright. I can take my stove, my fuel canister, and I can rest it right on that bottom panel. So I have a windscreen that won't fall over in the wind. Pretty cool, right? Now, for the real magic, I'm gonna show you how to fold this up and store it in your pot. I'm going to start by folding up that little bottom, and then I'll fold both sides in. Fold it one more time over so that it is the right height to easily fit in my pot. Ta-da! Just like that. Let's move on to our next DIY. We have only 2 left, and the last 2 are definitely the hardest, but probably the coolest. Now we are moving on to more complicated DIYs, and I'm going to show you how to make a roll top stuff sack like this one. To make this stuff sack, you are going to need lightweight ripstop nylon, a small piece of boning, a 1/2 inch buckle, a 1/2 inch ribbon or webbing, a straight edge, pins, scissors, and a sewing machine. Now, if you've never sewn anything before, this is actually a great first project to do on your sewing machine because it's really just a couple of straight edges. But if you don't have a sewing machine, unfortunately, making this by hand is pretty challenging. Crafting is hard work. So the stuff sack that I am making is going to be on the smaller side, around 3-ish liters. You can make this whatever size you want, but there is a little bit of math involved to like figure out the size of your fabric. So I'm gonna tell you what I'm using, and I will put a link in the description below for how you can assess the size of your stuff sack that you wanna make, and therefore figure out how you should cut your fabric. You will need 2 pieces of ripstop nylon. One piece that measures 6 inches by 15 inches, and another one that measures 14 inches by 10 inches. For your boning, you are just gonna need a small piece that fits along this 6-inch edge, and you're actually gonna wind up with something that's probably only about 5 or 4.5 inches long. And in comes the sewing machine. All right, so I'm going to start with my smaller piece of nylon, and we are actually going to roll that 6-inch side down 1 inch. Boom. That's going to create that sleeve where we'll slide our boning, which is going to make it easier to roll the stuff sack down. All right, boom. If you know sewing, we're just using a simple straight stitch. That's it. Now, I'm going to take my piece of boning and I'm going to cut it to be 4 3/4 of an inch, and I'm going to slide it into the sleeve that I just created, just like that. There you have it. Now let's get on to pinning together the rest of the stuff sack. What we are going to do is take our second piece of fabric and we are going to lay that down with the longer side facing me and the shorter sides on either side of me. And then you'll take this piece here and you are going to line it up on one edge, and we will pin all the way down the edge. Now, if you notice, when we get down to the bottom there, we still have some fabric hanging off the bottom because this is gonna wrap under and be the bottom of our stuff sack. But we're gonna start by just pinning and sewing this seam. I'm not gonna lie to you, pinning fabric together is my least favorite part of sewing.
It sucks.
Now the next thing we're going to do is we are going to take this short side of our gray fabric in this case, and we are gonna rotate it so that we can pin the remainder that was hanging over the side along here. Boom. So now we're gonna do the same thing on the other edge of our fabric. So we'll take this corner and we're gonna bring it over here. So we're lining that up. I'm gonna pin this edge in place. This goes there. Boom. So now that I've pinned my other long side, I'm going to do exactly what I did on the other side. Rotate my fabric. Things are getting a little fiddly now. And pin here. Beep. You can see we have our gray fabric bottom. We have our edges pinned, and then we just need to basically pin this last edge right here. Trust me, that's the hardest part. Now what we are going to do is we are going to sew all of those edges that we just pinned. So we are going to start with our gray fabric facing up. I'm gonna go ahead and sew these edges with a 1/2 inch seam allowance using a straight stitch. Sewing montage. So now I have my finished stuff sack. I rolled the top edge and basically made like a hem on that top section there. Stuff sack's inside out right now, but if I turn it right side out, you can really start to see it coming together. Boom, ta-da! So I have one more step to do, and that is to attach the ribbon or webbing and my buckle so that I can roll this down and close it. What you're gonna wanna do is lay your stuff sack down so that you have the shorter edge facing up, and to take your piece of webbing or your ribbon and lay it across your opening of your stuff sack. Now I'm gonna stop sewing before I reach the end of my ribbon, leaving that 2-inch tail. We are gonna cut our threads. So when I pull this up, I should have that ribbon attached in the center with about 2 or 3 inches on either side. There's only one step left in this stuff sack, and that is to attach our buckle. Slide one end and just fold it over and stitch it. And there you have your DIY roll top stuff sack. Now that I've finished my roll top stuff sack, it's time to move on to the final DIY. And this is definitely the one that I am most excited to share with you. It's pretty freaking cool if I don't say so myself. For our final backpacking DIY, I'm going to show you how to make a phone pocket for the shoulder strap of your pack using recycled plastic bags. If you can't tell, I am so excited about this DIY. The best thing about this DIY is that it requires absolutely no sewing. The materials you're going to need to make this phone pocket are plastic bags, a pencil or marker, peel and stick Velcro, scissors, duct tape, parchment paper, an iron and an ironing board, and your phone for reference. You'll also need some way to attach this phone pocket to your shoulder strap, and I am using one of these little buckles that kind of like pinches closed. I'll put a link in the description for where you can buy these. Without further ado, let's get to this DIY. So let's start by actually cutting out a template for your phone pocket, and then we'll get on to creating our fabric from the plastic bags. I am using parchment paper for my template on my phone because I'm going to eventually be running an iron over this plastic. And so I want to have something that will keep the plastic from sticking, and parchment paper works great for that. I'm going to take my phone, and what I want to do is cut out a piece of paper, or basically like draw a template that is about 1.5 inches on either side, and then is long enough that it can fold over to close. So now that we have our template, it is time to cut and make our plastic fabric. This is the really cool part. This is where I get super excited. So I'm gonna preheat my iron to the nylon poly setting, so a pretty low heat setting. So while that is preheating, let's prep our plastic. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start by cutting off this bottom seam. And now we're gonna cut off the handles at the top as well. So I could just melt these 2 pieces of plastic together, but I actually wanna have 4 layers of plastic melted together to make this a really strong material for my phone pocket. This has to withstand backpacking, so I need it to be really strong and durable. So what I'm going to do is fold this over. Now I have my 4 layers of plastic bag. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna start by laying out 1 sheet of parchment paper, my plastic that I cut. And then I'm going to lay a second sheet of parchment. Oh no! A second sheet of parchment paper over top of it. I want to make sure that there is no part of the plastic that the iron is going to directly touch. It will melt onto the iron and this will not work. So I need to make sure that it's totally covered with the parchment paper. And I'm just gonna start running this over the plastic bag using medium pressure. And this is slowly going to melt the plastic together, creating a fabric of sorts. This process might take anywhere between 5 and 10 minutes. The most important thing really is just to keep the iron moving. If you leave the iron just like sitting there, it will totally melt it. Don't do that. And probably right about now, you'll start to be able to see, yeah. You see this? Start to see it melting together. That is what we want. You can see we still got a ways to go before it's done, so we're gonna keep going. You're like a Stepford wife.
And there it went.
Yeah, I'd never be accepted as a Stepford wife. Boom! There we have it.
It's like plastic fruit leather.
Don't eat this, don't eat it. The next thing I wanna do is grab my phone and this little template that I made. And I wanna basically fold this template until it is just slightly wider than my phone. Like that probably, maybe ½ inch wider on either side. What I've done here is basically folded up the bottom part of our sheet of plastic, and I'm going to then iron these edges here again to melt these together. And then that will allow me to then have a flap that goes over, which we can trim and adjust. All right, so we're gonna grab our piece of parchment paper again, put that on top and do the same ironing process, this time really focusing on these outside edges. All right, there we go. We're gonna rotate this and do the other side. Just like that, we have a pocket in our plastic. Boom, perfect. Wow, look at that. That is a perfect fit. I obviously don't want all this excess plastic on the edges here, so I am actually going to trim this off. So I'm gonna leave my phone in there so I can really see where the excess is. I can already tell this bottom corner is gonna need to be re-ironed, which is fine. I'm gonna do the same thing over here, boom. Before I get to re-ironing this and like properly sealing that bottom part, I'm going to cut my flap. All right, great. Okay, let me remove my phone. Let me grab my parchment paper guide again and seal up this one edge. Boom. Here we are. I'm going to pop my phone in. Beep. So I'm going to pull my peel and stick Velcro up and just cut a little tiny piece to put on either side of the plastic here so I can keep the flap closed. And I have my Velcro perfectly placed to seal my phone in. So you've made your phone pocket, but how do we turn this into a pocket that attaches to the shoulder strap on your pack? So the way the shoulder straps on my pack are designed, they have this daisy chain that runs down the whole shoulder strap. So the first thing that I want to do is actually start by creating a little strip of fabric out of my duct tape. So I'm gonna pull out about 6 to 8 inches of duct tape. What we're now gonna do is with the sticky side of our duct tape facing upwards, I'm going to fold this over. Now this little strip of duct tape is what I'm going to use to attach the phone pocket to this buckle and then attach this to the shoulder strap on my pack. So I'm going to now take this piece of duct tape that I just made. I'm gonna line it up with my phone pocket, keeping it in the closed position. I'm gonna pull out another little piece of duct tape and we're just gonna take like a square of duct tape and we're gonna use this to attach this strip we just made, just like that. Now, if your pack has a gear loop already, like a little something that goes across the shoulder strap here, one modification that you could make is just to take this and loop that through and then apply a little piece of peel and stick Velcro to the side here and to the top of this strap. So you can like peel and stick it onto your pack. But my pack, again, doesn't have that. It has a daisy chain. So that's where this little buckle thing comes in handy. Slide the buckle onto the duct tape. I'm gonna fold that over until I just have a little bit sticking up over the top of my pocket with my connector buckle. And now on the back side of my phone pocket here, I can trim my duct tape strap and then catch that end with a square of duct tape just like I did to attach the other side. So now I can take this open buckle, slide it onto the daisy chain of my pack, and clip it closed. Cool, right? Now, as you probably see here, if I just have that top part connected, this just kind of flaps in the wind. So I want to put in one additional connection point that allows me to attach the bottom of this bag to the daisy chain down here. So to do that, what I'm going to do is take my pieces of Velcro again. I'm going to take the soft side of my peel and stick, and I'm going to cut 2 pieces about 1.5 inches up or 2 inches up and stick those onto my phone pocket. Like that, boom. Now I need to make one more piece of duct tape ribbon that fits between these 2 pieces of Velcro. Oh, Rainer, what's that behind your ear?
What is it?
Oh, it's a piece of duct tape!
Magic is real!
I'm gonna lie this across like that, boom. Now I'm gonna take my pokey Velcro that sticks to these pieces already attached, and I'm going to cut 2 pieces, one for each end of my duct tape strap. Sticking that on one end. I'm gonna attach that on that side. I'm gonna flip it back, cut myself a second piece of pokey Velcro. And now we have something adjustable. We're gonna slide it through the daisy chain. And now on the bottom, I'm going to take one side of my duct tape Velcro strap off. I'm going to locate the closest daisy chain. I'm gonna slide this through that daisy chain so I can connect it on the other side. So now, moment of truth, I have my phone pocket attached to my pack. Whoa! How cool is that? So this concludes my second backpacking DIY video. And if you want to see more videos like this or see me test out even harder DIY gear, let me know in the comments below. And as always, thank you for watching. If you liked this video, make sure you hit the like button, you subscribe to my channel, and hit the notification bell, and I will see you outside. Bye! Pew pew! Katie, can you make me fly off like a rocket ship at the end here?
Miranda got bored of DIY.